I watched this movie the other day with my family, which I recommend. It's called True Spirit. And this girl was from, or she is from Australia. She was a 16-year-old girl with, she had dyslexia. So she saw words backwards and stuff like that. And it was real bad for her. And when she was young, she trained to, or she wanted to train to sail. And eventually she told her mom she wanted to sail around the world. And when she turned 16, that's exactly what she did. She sailed around the world. And this is a true story. I recommend it. I recommend this movie to everybody. It is a family movie. There's nothing bad in it. But it was so powerful. Like throughout the whole movie, I was like, oh my gosh. It was giving me like the analogy of what God brings us through and what we should look at it, like a different vision about what we go through in this life. And I'm not going to give the movie away, but I'm going to tell you this. Like I've been reading, I'm in the middle of like 3 different books right now. I've been on a book, happy for like years now, for, well, the past couple of years. And it's like I can't get enough of especially like these true stories and just like true biographies of people and just what people really are going through and things like that. And that takes me to, that's why I like to talk about like the mental illness and the PTSD and all these other things, because it's real. It is real. Now some people do, and I don't want to veer off, some people take that to the extreme and they hold it like a sign over their head as if they don't want to budge from it. They just want that name held above their head. They don't want to get fixed. They don't want to get healed. You know what I mean? Or like they don't want to move forward in life and get better. You know what I'm saying? With the Lord Jesus' help, of course, because only God can help us through these things. But I'm not going to veer off, and sorry about Cotton, my dog. He's probably, you can hear him snoring in the background, and my air is going on and off because it's so hot outside. But anyway, it's interesting because I'm in this book, right? And then I watched this movie and I'm like, oh my gosh, because he talks about hope too. And way before, like I didn't even know, but he was like talking about hope and then the waves and all these different things. I was like, oh, are you serious? So I love how God does that. But basically, instead of going against the grain or like going against the wave, right? And crashing, constantly crashing, right? We can have a different vision about it and say, wow, we're still going to go through this big thing, but instead of crashing against it, how about we ride with it? How about we ride the waves in this journey? Even riding listen, check this out. Even riding the waves of your life, because your life is special and unique, and nobody knows exactly what you've ever been through. You can only explain it, and people can understand it sometimes and feel it. But personally, God knows you in and out. He knows exactly what you've been through. But instead of going through this life crashing all the time, it's like He's teaching us, you're still going to go through the challenges and the hard times and the rough times and the difficult times and the trials and the tribulations. Why don't I take you, and no, why don't you allow me to take you and ride with it? Because the world is always moving anyway. The world never stops for us. That's why whenever, like when we read the Word of God and we understand, like God says that He doesn't work in time. He doesn't work in time. He doesn't work in all of that. But because we live in this world is always ever going. It's always moving, and it doesn't wait for us. And so when we're constantly crashing into it, it can create issues and problems and situations that we go through. But I want to say this, riding with the waves, it's going to go up high. It's going to be challenging still. It's going to do its thing. It's going to do its thing, right? It's still going to move. And we may even go under for a minute, right? And I posted this on my community post. If you go, I don't know if anybody can like really see community posts. Sometimes I can't, and I have to like manually go look at somebody's community post. But I do post a lot because sometimes I don't like, I'm not consistent with making videos. And by the way, I do love all of y'all videos, and I love the comments. I see the comments sometimes. I just been bouncing here myself from this situation and that situation and all these different things, and I haven't really been on, sorry about all that, I should have turned off my notifications, but I haven't been on YouTube like I used to be. I kind of like it because of life, you know, and so I can't view everybody's videos and watch everybody's videos and comment on everybody's stuff, you know, all the time. So instead of going against the wave, why don't we ride the wave? Even though we know that we're going to go under sometimes, we're going to pop up like a cork in a bottle, because our Father is powerful. He made the heavens and the earth. He made the seas and the stars and the skies and the trees. He and his power rest upon us, and we really do walk by faith. It's not some kind of, oh, you walk by faith and not by sight and da 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 da. No, that's why he takes us through these things in our lives, so that we can actually know it for our lives. We can apply it for our lives. We can see it for our lives. We can understand it. You know, it's one thing to talk about it, but it's another to actually go through it and understand it for your own self, you know. But it's an over and over, it's an ongoing thing. It never gets old. It actually becomes more deeper. So this guy talks about the PTS. He hates calling it D because he hates the disorder part, because he says, listen, yes, it's real. Your PTSD is real. It's true. And this book is, it's called The Truth About PTSD. I'd like to bring that out because in case anybody would want to read it. It's by Chad Robichaux. He was an ex-recon in the Marine Corps. And I found him one night when I was riding at night. He was talking on a radio, and I found him. And what he was saying was so profound. It was very deep what he was talking about. And he was talking about the Marine Corps. And it was at that time where my son was kind of thinking about joining the Marines. And I knew the Lord was talking to me through this guy. So I had bought his book, and it's amazing. It's amazing. But he talks about David too. And, but he says, listen, because he opened up a, I know I'm talking a lot, but he opened up this, it's called Mighty Oaks Foundation. It's for like veterans and active duty soldiers and Marines. And he loves to help people to not see their condition as that's who they're going to be for the rest of their lives. He really does want to help them and to teach them and to show them that you don't have to wear that sign above your head saying, I'm going to have PTSD for the rest of my life and I am not going to move from that position. Well, he's like, let me tell you, you do have PTSD, but you don't have to enable yourself and stay in that position. You can literally walk through this life and allow God to help you through all of your past troubles and traumas and tribulations. He is powerful. God is powerful. And this guy is not some name it to claim it type of thing either. He's not like Pentecostal or whatever. He's not New Age or nothing like that. He's really just trying to help people to understand that, hey, yes, you're always probably going to have that PTS. And then he goes, I don't like saying D, because it's not a disorder. He says, but you don't have to live in the stuck of it. You know what I'm saying? So it's really cool. Anyway, buy his book, Chad Robichaux. It's called The Truth About PTSD. And he talks about a lot of good stuff in here. And he says, I'm just going to read a little bit. He goes, I'm glad that David did not stop writing in the valley. He even talks about the valley, which I had made my valley, the Hope in the Valley, before even reading this. But anyway, he goes, I'm glad that David did not stop writing in the valley. He talks about the protection and the comfort and provision and the relationship with the shepherd that will last forever. And it can be extremely difficult to accept that God is with us and has a plan for our lives when it feels like everything around us is falling apart. But we can trust the words of another warrior, a guy who struggled just like the rest of us, that it will get better as long as we don't stop under the shadow. We will all find ourselves in the valley, following the shepherd out of it into those greener pastures of life. And it is entirely up to you, because he says it is up to us to move. It is up to us. We have choices. And he goes, it's called the valley of death, or the valley of the shadow of death. See, here's the deal. David walked through it just like we all do. But David didn't call it the valley of death, period. He said it's the valley of the shadow of death. Meaning it's a shadow of, it doesn't take us out. It just brings us through the hard and difficult times. But we can ride with it. We can go with it. And sometimes we will crash. Sometimes we will go against the waves. But God really is calling us to ride the waves. He really is. And that's kind of what I got from that movie. I know I'm talking really fast because I'm trying to jam pack all kinds of stuff. But the movie is called True Spirit. And I would encourage you to watch that too. So yeah. Ride the waves. Allow the Lord, allow your Father to take you to go on that ride. Even though, right? X, Y, and Z. Ride the wave instead of letting the wave crash you. Instead of going against the wave. That's basically what I wanted to say, but now it's been a long video. I love you guys, and I pray for you guys all the time.